Suspected cultists kill 3 in Rivers as police dislodges IPOB ESN terrorists and neutralize deadly commander. NLC plans meeting over new minimum wage. The federal government frees 68 inmates in Zaria. And away from Nigeria, floods, landslide killed dozens in northern Tanzania. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you for joining us, and now the details. We'll start with security. Suspected cultists loyal to one General Danger on Monday invaded the Egbe community in Ubie Kingdom, Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State, and abducted 3 persons, including a woman. The eyewitnesses said that the corpses of the 3 abductees were found along the Egbe and Ebiriba Road area of Ubue Kingdom later in the day. Now, reports said before the incident, the 2 deceased male victims reportedly quarreled with a woman said to be the mother of General Danger, who vowed to deal with them. General Danger is said to be the leader of Iceland cult group in the area. Following the confessions made by the suspected IPOB ESN terrorists allegedly involved in the killing of DPO Ahiazu Mbaise and other dastardly acts in the Mbaise axis, the police authority says their operatives of the command's anti-kidnapping squad, led by CSP Oladimeji Odeye Yiwa, who has been at the center stage of the investigation on Monday, stormed the criminal hideout of the deadly IPOB ESN terrorist syndicate at Umuogu Amuzu in Abo Mbaise local government area of Imo State and dislodged the terrorists. The police engaged the terrorists in fierce battle. In the process, the second in command of Ebube Virus, who is famous on the command's wanted list, was neutralized, while others escaped with gunshot injuries. One AK-47 rifle loaded with 19 rounds of live ammunition was recovered from the neutralized terrorists. The command spokesperson, ASP Henry Okoye, in a press release on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, CP Danjuma Aboki, said the operation is in progress to track down other fleeing suspects and made them face the full wrath of the law. Over 80 villagers were reportedly killed by accidental military airstrikes at Tudumbiri in Chukun local government area of Kaduna State. The victims were celebrating Maulud on Sunday at the village where they were hit by the airstrike. Trust TV's Bella Musa completes the story.
These are victims of Tudumbiri who were hit by airstrike receiving treatment at the emergency ward of Barodiko teaching hospitals. They narrated their experience from the incidents. I was inside my house when I heard a loud bang. When I came out, I realized that it was an airstrike. Some people died instantly, while the injured persons were being moved to Buruku Hospital. Another strike hit the people who were rescuing other injured, and they died as well. My daughter, her children, and my uncle all died. So far, we have recovered about 80 dead bodies. We brought about 48 persons who are injured, including my daughters Firdausi, Sadia, and my son Ashiru to this hospital.
We were observing Maulud when the airstrike hit us. Many died and many others were injured. We ran and entered our houses before the second strike hit and killed mostly youths.
After meeting with the deputy governor and security agencies at the Sir Kashim Ibrahim House, the Jama'atul Nasrul Islam and Fitianul Islam, while briefing journalists, appealed for compensation to be paid to the victims.
So we heard what the government said. And the government has apologized on behalf of the security personnel that carried out the exercise. So we here, as the traditional rulers of that area and the Islamic leaders, have listened to the government.
We learned that there was bad incidents happened in the Regasa village, where people yesterday were gathering for Maulud, and there was airstrike on them. So many people were killed. Not less than 50 people were killed in that incident.
Although government has promised to pay the bills of the injured, we are, however, hopeful that they will compensate affected families. The Kaduna State government, through the overseer, Ministry of Internal Security, Samuel Arwan, while addressing journalists after the security meeting at the Kaduna Government House, described the incident as unfortunate, saying the Nigerian army was on routine mission against terrorists in the area when the incident happened.
The GOC 1 Division, Nigerian Army, Major General V.U. Okoro, explained that the Nigerian Army was on a routine mission against terrorists, but unfortunately, some members of the Tudumbiri community were affected. Search and rescue efforts are still ongoing, as dozens of injured victims have been evacuated to Barrow Diko Teaching Hospital by the government.
Earlier, the Nigerian Air Force, in a statement by its Director of Public Relations, Air Commodore Edward Gafquet, said NAF has not undertaken any air operations in Kaduna State in the last 24 hours. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Meanwhile, the Emir of Zazzau, Malam Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, has sued for calm while applauding the swift intervention of Kaduna State government after a recent drone attack by the army on Tudunbiri community of Igabi local government area of the state. Bamali, who is also the chairman, Council of Emirs and Chiefs in the state, was contained in a voice message sent through the Emirates Media and Publicity Officer, Abdullahi Aliyu Kwarbai. The Emir, who was outside the state on official engagements as at the time of the incident, noted with appreciation the measures taken by Governor Obasani's administration to calm tension and prevail on the matter. He stated that despite being away, he had been duly briefed on the incident by both the Kaduna administrator, commissioner, and the district head of Rigasa, whose area was affected. While commiserating with the families of those that lost their lives and their loved ones and those that sustained various degrees of injuries in the unfortunate attack, the Emir urged the community members to remain calm and be law-abiding. Parents of abducted students of the Federal University of Gusau in Zamfara State have staged a peaceful protest at the government house demanding the unconditional release of their children. They want Governor Dauda Lawal and security agencies to rescue their children who have been in captivity for 72 days unhurt. No fewer than 24 students of the university, 10 construction workers, a staff of the university and his daughter were kidnapped on September 22nd this year in Sabongida, a community hosting the main campus of the university. However, 13 students and 3 construction workers have been rescued while others are still in captivity. The protesters vowed to remain at the Zamfara State Government House until their children are released. They said the abductors have contacted some of them and the only condition that they gave was to have negotiation with the government.
We complained to the DC after meeting with him about 2 months back. He said there is nothing he can do in this issue. To our surprise, even today, they are able to now make exams in the school. When our daughters are there, we don't know their condition. Actually, you can see us. We are nobody. Nobody look at us as a human being. Because if this is the daughter of, let's say, councillor, something must have happened. Let's say councillor, just the last state of this policy, something will have been done. But why is this that? Because we don't know, nobody knows us. The government is not doing anything. The school is not doing anything. The DC says there is nothing it can do. What I'm saying is, and the school is moving. What I'm telling you is just almost about 2 weeks now, they are going to do their exams.
Almost 3 months now, and we want them to be back. They said they don't want anything from the parents. They don't want to sit with the parents. It's only the governor that they want to sit to discuss with him how they are going to bring back our children. They say if governor did not sit with them, they are not going to bring back our children. Then why is it that governor doesn't want to sit with them? People have been saying, he said, then say. Up to now, I didn't hear even a word that comes out from governor. This is what governor said about these children. So we come here to plead the governor. He should please and please, for the sake of Allah, he should try all his possible best to see that he brings.
The Nigerian Labour Congress is expected to meet ahead of the resumption of negotiation between the federal government and the organized labour on the new minimum wage. Now, this is to arrive at a living wage which commensurates with the prevailing cost of living. The NLC President, Joe Ajaero, stated this at the opening session of the NLC 2023 Hamilton School with the theme Building Workers' Skills for Policy Engagement in Abuja on Monday. Ajaero, represented by the Deputy President, Benjamin Anthony, said in the face of adversity and brutality encountered while advocating for the rights of workers to earn their legitimate income and benefits, the union's resolve remains unwavering. The ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, has postponed the inauguration of its standing committee earlier scheduled for Wednesday indefinitely. Briefing newsmen at the end of the 138th meeting of the National Working Committee, the NWC, at the APC National Secretariat on Monday in Abuja. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, said a new date for the inauguration will be announced later. Moka, however, declined questions on why the inauguration was postponed in the first place. Tensions continue to simmer in the aftermath of the appeal court's judgment over the governorship elections in Kano, Plateau, Nasarawa, and Zamfara states. As tensions rise in the build-up to the Supreme Court's verdict, citizens are drawing attention on the need for the judicial system to deliver justice at all costs. Dorcas Yakubu has more.
Days after protests followed what many described as controversial verdicts, the apprehension across Kano, Plateau, Nasarawa and Zamfara states over the election litigation is unsettling the political atmosphere. Women of Wasa and Madala community in the FCT have expressed concern over the credibility of the judicial process as they advocate justice for the survival of Nigeria's democracy.
From all this corruption where they are doing in Kano, it's Abba Gida Gida, the owner of the seat, then come collect to Abba. We are not happy.
Gwamnati dan Allah ta tausaya mana mu talakawa.
We are calling on the government to do justice and declare Abba Kabir Yusuf as the governor of Kano State. We voted for him and we are certain he won the election. He pays school fees for the poor people and even sponsors their education abroad. We want justice to prevail.
Tsakani da Allah ni abin da nake so gwamnati dan Allah ta taimaka mana ta saka mana hannu a wannan abin dan Allah ta taimaka mana a baiwa Abba mulkin shi.
Improvements in the place. Something good in that place, so that if he's back, I think something better will come out of it.
The outcomes of litigations over the 2023 elections have divided opinions of Nigerians who question the verdicts delivered by the courts. The police and other security agencies have been working overtime to prevent the breakdown of law and order after protests by the political supporters in the affected states. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching news updates on Trust TV. Coming up, we will tell you why residents decry high cost of transportation. This and more after the break. Stay with us.
This is Africa Update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba. Thanks for joining.
Rest of Africa, stand and make sure that our people understand.
And the story of the OAU can be told and retold. It cannot be denied that it made a contribution to the process of decolonization of the continent in many ways.
Ethiopia is where it is today in no small part because of the tireless efforts of the African Union and the wisdom of its deeply held belief in the principle of African solution to African problems.
The bulk of African countries were under colonial rule in 1945. So they did not take part in the negotiations that established the Bretton Woods institutions.
But the African continent is not included in this South-South relations. And therefore, our objective is to ensure that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is actually implemented. And the BRICS countries, all of them are trading with Africa.
And we know that there are resources in Sudan, especially in Darfur. And that is why Darfur has been on the front burner for a long time.
So Cameroonians are anxious, Cameroonians are impatient, Cameroonians are like, oh, many of the guys are not talking today. You can read it all over the social media.
Egypt has officially declined to accept fleeing Palestinians for fear that the more Palestinians you accept across the border into Egypt, the more trouble there may be for the country in the nearest and farthest future.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. Reports suspected cultists killed 3 in Rivers as police dislodges IPOB, ESN terrorist and neutralized deadly commander. An NLC plans meeting over new minimum wage. Now moving on to more stories, the federal government has freed 68 inmates in Zaria Custodial Center as part of an effort to decongest the correctional facilities across the country. The controller of Correctional Center Kaduna State, Ado Saleh, said the federal government has settled 52 million naira fines and compensation for the 399 inmates at various correctional centers across Kaduna State. The ceremony in Zaria was a continuation of the program that was designed and implemented by the federal government. In total, 399 inmates in Kaduna were marked to be released at the cost of 52 million naira. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Ojo, had said no fewer than 4,068 inmates would benefit from the initiative across the country. Now, commuters in Imo State are beginning to express dissatisfaction with the hike in transport fares in the state. This is because most commuter bus drivers have continued or increased their fares in a situation residents say that they are not comfortable with anymore. Ajibade Praise was on the streets of Owerri, the state capital, from where he filed in this report. Take a look.
It It is no news that the increment in fuel pump price has also affected the transportation fare in the state. Residents from all walks of life who make use of commercial transportation in the state have continued to lament over the hike in price of their transportation, especially those who have cause to move on daily basis. Transporters in the state have all increased their charges to double the initial amount, and in some cases triple. This is one development the public transport users are not finding funny.
From me, coming from Oji into Junction to here now cost me about 200. I even have to bargain with the driver to beg for 200 because he was telling me 250 from Imsu Junction. Before now we enter the vehicle on 100 naira level.
We are lamenting.
Like where you are going to now, how much do you used to go there before, and how much are you using now?
But now it's 150. I don't know. It's something else.
Masses have been complaining deeply due to the increasement of the fuel rates, and the drivers, if you're just approaching or maybe moving towards a short distance, a distance that will normally pay for 50 or 100 naira this time around, they keep asking you to pay 150 or 200 naira just because of the increasement of the fuel.
Some of the drivers who spoke on the matter said they are equally not happy with the development, adding that they also suffer the same fate. According to them, most of the money they make goes back to fueling their cars, considering the high cost of fuel, leaving them with little or nothing to meet their family needs.
It's very difficult for us to make to beat up with the price these days. The high cost of the fuel is affecting us seriously. All the days when we get our business done, at the end of it, you see that we don't have anything. They gave it, we struggle and we go to give them back to the filling station people.
The residents also expressed bitterness over the failure of government to provide solution to the problem, despite several calls on them to look into the matter.
Because if everybody is clamoring and everybody is shouting and saying, and government, but everything keeps on increasing. Everything keeps on, getting worse. I can't even express it anymore. So I don't know if you can depend on the government anymore. From the passengers to the drivers, the story is the same. The cost of transportation is very high in the state. And of course, this was triggered by the hike in the fuel pump price. They are calling on government to see a way they can ameliorate these menace. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
The Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum says that his administration is committed to ensuring that people living with disabilities have equal rights to education, healthcare, vocational training and employment, among others. Governor Zulum stated this during the commemoration of the International Day of People with Disability in Maiduguri. The governor, who was represented by the Commissioner for Intergovernmental and Special Duties, Ibrahim Tukur, noted that the state government has implemented policies and initiatives to promote the inclusion of PWDs and eliminate discrimination against them. The theme of this year's World Day of Disabled Persons is Renewing Hope Together for Disability Inclusive Society.
In line with our pragmatic policy initiative, we have taken significant strides to ensure the inclusion of persons with disability in our society. Our efforts encompasses accessible infrastructure, inclusive education, vocational training, and employment opportunities. Yet we acknowledge that there is still much work to be done.
Again, over 700 women with disabilities were trained in poultry farming and supported with chicks, feeds, and hatchery machines in MMC and JRA local government areas. This we did in collaboration with the Catholic Relief Service. In the last 5 years of the administration of His Excellency Professor Babagana Umara Zulum, all distributions of palliatives and startup kits by his wife, our First Lady, Her Excellency Dr. Falmata Babagana Umara Zulum, has always reserved a certain percentage for people living with disabilities. This is also reflected in political representations, where from the ward, local government to state levels, people living with disabilities occupy political positions.
To the policy makers, we urge you to enact laws that protect the right and individual disability, ensuring equal access to education, employment, and healthcare. To educators, we implore you to embrace inclusive practices, creating classrooms that nurture the talents of every student, regardless of their abilities. To the employers, we challenge you to open your doors to the diverse talent of individual disability, creating workplaces that embrace their neurodiversity and foster innovation.
Away from Nigeria, at least 47 people have been killed and 85 others injured in landslide caused by flooding in northern Tanzania. The district commissioner, Jeneth Mayanja, said heavy rain on Saturday hit the town of Katesh, some 300 kilometers, about 186 miles north of the capital, Dodoma. Tanzania's President, Samia Suluhu Hassan, in Dubai for the COP28 climate conference, sent her condolences and ordered the deployment of more government efforts to rescue people. And with that, we wrap up news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.